No other figure comes closer to epitomizing the Wild West lawman and gunfighter than Wyatt Earp. Wyatt was an Old West lawman and gambler in Cochise County, Arizona Territory, and a deputy marshal in Tombstone. He worked in a wide variety of trades throughout his life and took part in the famous gunfight at the OK Corral, during which lawmen killed 3 outlaw Cochise County cowboys. He's often erroneously regarded as the central figure in the shootout, although his brother Virgil was the Tombstone City and Deputy U.S. Marshal that day, and had far more experience in combat as a sheriff, constable, marshal, and soldier. Wyatt had many other interests besides being a professional gambler, teamster, and buffalo hunter. As an entrepreneur, he owned several saloons, maintained a brothel, mined for silver and gold, and even refereed boxing matches. He spent his early life in Pella, Iowa. In 1870, he married Earla Sutherland, who contracted typhoid fever and died in childbirth. During the next 2 years, Earp was arrested for stealing a horse, escaped from jail, and was sued twice. He was arrested and fined 3 times in 1872 for keeping and being found in a house of ill fame. His third arrest was described at length in the Daily Transcript, which referred to him as an old offender and nicknamed him the Peoria Bummer, another name for loafer or vagrant. By 1874, he arrived in the boomtown of Wichita, Kansas, where his reputed wife opened a brothel. On April 21, 1975, he was appointed to the Wichita Police Force and developed a solid reputation as a lawman. But he was fined and dismissed from the force after getting into a fistfight with a political opponent of his boss. Earp immediately left Wichita, following his brother James to Dodge City, Kansas, where he became an assistant city marshal. In the winter of 1878, he went to Texas to track down an outlaw, and he met John Doc Holliday, whom Earp credited with saving his life. Earp moved constantly throughout his life from one boomtown to another. He left Dodge City in 1879 and moved with brothers James and Virgil to Tombstone, where a silver boom was underway. The Earps clashed with an informal group of outlaws known as the Cowboys. Wyatt, Virgil, and younger brother Morgan held various law enforcement positions, which put them in conflict with Tom McLaury, Frank McLaury, Ike Clanton, and Billy Clanton, who threatened to kill the Earps on several occasions. The conflict escalated over the next year, culminating in the shootout at the OK Corral on October 26, 1881, where the Earps and Doc Holliday killed 3 cowboys. During the next 5 months, Virgil was ambushed and maimed, and Morgan was assassinated. Wyatt, Warren Earp, Doc Holliday, and others formed a federal posse which killed 3 more cowboys whom they thought responsible. Wyatt was never wounded in any of the gunfights, unlike his brothers Virgil and Morgan, or his friend Doc Holliday, which only added to his mystique after his death. As a lifelong gambler, Earp was always looking for a quick way to make money. After leaving Tombstone, he went to San Francisco, where he reunited with Josephine Marcus, and she became his common-law wife. They joined a gold rush to Eagle City, Idaho, where they owned mining interests and a saloon. They eventually left to race horses and open a saloon during a real estate boom in San Diego, California. Back in San Francisco, Wyatt raced horses again, but his reputation suffered irreparably when he refereed the Fitzsimmons vs. Sharkey boxing match and called a foul, which led many to believe that he fixed the fight. Around 1911, Earp began working several mining claims in Vidal, California, retiring in the hot summers with Josephine to Los Angeles. He made friends among early Western actors in Hollywood and tried to get his story told, but he was portrayed only very briefly in one film produced during his lifetime, Wild Bill Hickok in 1923. Wyatt Earp died on January 13, 1929. Known as a Western lawman, gunfighter, and boxing referee, He had a notorious reputation for both his handling of the Fitzsimmons-Sharkey fight and his role in the OK Corral gunfight. This began to change only after his death, when the extremely flattering biography, Wyatt Earp, Frontier Marshal, was published in 1931, becoming a bestseller and creating his reputation as a fearless lawman. Since then, Earp has been the subject of numerous films, television shows, biographies, and works of fiction, which have increased both his fame and his notoriety. Long after his death, he has many devoted admirers and detractors. His modern-day reputation is that of the Old West's toughest and deadliest gunman.